Hey, what's up everybody? It's your boy Nerdy Rich here on the Nerdy Rich channel. So, I have to do this call to action. I know it's annoying. Another YouTuber telling us that I know. Before you even start watching whatever video this is, whether the gameplay, reviews, whatever the topic is, please go and subscribe. Subscribing is super important. It's free. You just hit the button, you hit all, and then whenever I drop a new video, you will see it, because it's a great way for you guys to see my content. Especially, I'm going to be growing a lot throughout the new year, and I would love for you guys to be there for my journey at this YouTube channel. So I will definitely see you guys in the new year. So comment, rate, like the video, share the video with everybody, and I will catch you guys then. Enjoy the video. Man, so now we're on my personal favorite movie of the Star Wars franchise, and that is Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. The Empire Strikes Back is the one I've seen the most as a kid. My mom is a huge Star Wars fan, as you guys should already know. She's the one who put me onto these movies, and I've been watching them ever since. This is the one I always seen the most. It's the one I always saw on TV, I saw on DVD. I just always watch these films, and I always love this one. But what is the story of The Empire Strikes Back? So spoilers for A New Hope. At the end of A New Hope, they successfully was able to blow up the Death Star, and now Vader and his men are chasing down the rebel, and they end up pinning them to this snow planet. And of course, they're trying to figure out a way to escape the planet so they can meet up with the rest of the rebellion, so they can continue on with their fight against the Empire. But of course, Vader tracks them down. While Luke is on the planet, he ultimately gets a vision from Obi-Wan, who had died in a previous movie. And he tells him you need to go to the Dagobah system in order to meet up with a famous master to continue on his training, since Obi-Wan is unfortunately dead. So of course, now you have Luke going to Dagobah to go do his own thing to get prepared for the to face the Empire, especially Vader himself. And then you have Han, Leia, Chewie, and R2-D2 all trying to lead the Empire away so that the rebels can escape. So the rest of the movie is just the Empire chasing them down until they eventually reach the Cloud City. They meet up with Lando and his people, and then the whole final battle happens at the end. Now, the reason why I personally love this movie is because of the characters in here. The characters were pretty good in the first one, but there's not really a lot to them, because George Lucas just wrote them very basic and simple. It's just the hero, the damsel, but he's twitched that around by turning Leia into a badass instead of just a damsel in distress, and then the cool badass. He ends up flipping that around. I mean, he sticks with that, and of course the mentor and the villain, of course. But in this one, he focused more. Him and a team of writers that he finally had helping him out were able to actually flesh out the character. That's why this feels like more of a character movie than a more action-heavy movie. There are great action scenes in the movie. I mean, the scene between Vader and Luke is like one of the best fights in the franchise. That's a really good fight, and of course a lot of great training montages and just a lot of good things. But it's really the characters that shine in this movie. You have the characters just sitting down speaking to each other. We get to learn about their backstories. We get to learn about why this war is so important and why it needs to be stopped. We even get introduced to the big battle of the whole franchise, being the Sith Lord himself, and you know, who does Vader work for? So that gets even more of them in danger, because they got this more powerful guy that's even more stronger than Vader, but we can barely defeat Vader himself. And I like, of course, the twist in the movie. I'm not going to spoil the twist, but the twist is like one of the best in film history. And it caught everybody off guard who watched this one in the 80s, because this one came out around the time of the 80s. And this one still shocks people to this day who were lucky enough to not get spoiled. I've seen this movie a bunch of times, so of course I know the twist, but getting all the context of the entire franchise along with this movie makes this movie even more better because of all the context leading into it. Especially if you've seen like the Clone Wars TV show, and then of course the original prequel trilogy. You know why Vader is such an interesting character. But again, we'll talk more in details once we get to the character portion. But overall, I just love the story. It's a very simple story, but again, it's more based around characters. We get to learn more lore stuff, and then of course we get so many iconic moments in this entire film, and that's why I think this is one of the best written films in the franchise. And a lot of people are going to debate on me on that, but to me, it's literally the best in terms of story of the franchise. So now we have, of course, Luke Skywalker. So Luke Skywalker in The Empire Strikes Back he is now getting more development because, as you guys know, George Lucas wrote the original movie, but then he got like a writing team to help him with the second one, and they really went to go flesh him out. I like that he is a very brash kid. You know, he's very, I just want to get this done, and I'll do anything it takes to get it done, but he's very impatient, and I like that throughout the whole movie. You know, you got Obi-Wan, you have Yoda trying to get him to understand, like, hey, you need to become a true Jedi in order to defeat Vader. And now with the looming threat of the Emperor, who was introduced into this movie, you have so many powerful enemies that's up ahead, and the only way you're going to be able to do this is to train properly. Of course, he wants to go back to his friends. He wants to get back into the fight because he has to, unfortunately, leave Leia and the other rebels because Vader was attacking them, and of course they need to split up. And I like that throughout the movie we get to see him really trying to get the grasp of all of that. We even get to see like flashes of a potential version of him, and of course has his iconic battle with uh, Darth Vader, and it's such an interesting fight. And I like that we get to see him really grow in this movie because he is slowly starting to learn, like, maybe I should have not rushed this, maybe this was a bad idea. But of course, he also learns the dark secret of his origins and how he became to be. Um, and of course, you guys know that. I'm not going to spoil it here, but definitely he grows a lot to the point when we get to the final movie, he becomes probably one of my favorite characters in fiction. But of course, I love that he going from this kid that is just very brass all the way up until eventually becoming this legendary master in the next movie and beyond. And next, of course, we have Han. Han in this movie I like a lot more than even his original movie, so because they give him a lot of time to just get a chance to sit around and talk. Like he's mostly talking to Leia throughout the entire movie, and I like that they have like push more into their relationship because it was kind of swarming in the first movie, but this one they really focus on it, and I like that we get a lot of great interesting conversation between the two characters, and we get to learn more about him. And I like that he's very playful with her and stuff like that, but he's also very serious about getting the job done. And I like that at first he wanted to leave again, but then of course he got caught up with everything, and then he stays throughout the fight all the way up until, of course, what happened to him at the end of this movie. But I like that he's constantly on his toes at all times. He doesn't fully trust everything, but of course, things need to happen. But he's still such an interesting character throughout the movie. And then, of course, he just has so many iconic lines and moments throughout this entire film. Princess Leia, once again, still such an amazing character. I like that, like I said, she's getting a lot of time to talk to like Han and get their relationship going, and she has so many funny moments, lines, and I like that she's once just like Han, she doesn't fully trust everything that's going on, and I like that they still give her moments where she could be a badass in battle and stuff like that, and she's still like this respected character. People still respect her, and I like that she is the main reason why they were able to escape in the first place when they was getting bombarded by attacks from Vader. And of course, she's still such an amazing character. And I like that she constantly stays a good character all the way up until the end of this franchise. And then even other parts of the series when we get to see her a little bit more, she's still such a badass. And they really do a great job with her. And again, she has iconic lines and moments as well throughout the entire film. Next two characters are going to be Obi-Wan and Yoda. I'm going to talk about both of them at the same time. Obi-Wan throughout this movie is literally just a force ghost. He just mostly try to move the plot along by having Luke goes to Dagobah to go train with Yoda, and then of course he's trying to convince Yoda to train him because Yoda can sense that Luke could easily go down the dark path, the same as another famous Jedi in the franchise, and he's trying to prevent him not to go down that route. But of course, Obi-Wan is pushing him to do it. He's like, hey, you train me, you train a bunch of Jedi's in the past. I need you to train this one because this one could potentially be the true chosen one. And of course, Yoda does, and I like that Yoda throughout this movie is trying to make Luke understand, like, hey, you need to finish your training. You can't let these visions affect you, because if you let the visions fully take control of you, you're going to go down the path of darkness. I've seen this happen one time before, where an expiring pupil of mine went down the dark path because he kept looking too much into visions, and obviously that's what led him down to the dark side of the Force. But of course, Luke didn't listen, and of course the whole final act of the movie happened. But I do like that he is trying, and that's what I really like about these two. And the last two characters I'm gonna talk about is, of course, Darth Vader in this movie, or Darth Vader in this movie. I really love him a lot more in this movie. We really get to get more of his development. We get to see him actually be stressed and like worried, because he's like, well, these guys were able to defeat us. They blew up the first Death Star. Now you got the Emperor that's on my ass about it. We gotta find them. And I like that throughout the movie he is figuring out very important things about Luke and why he has such a session with him, especially once they do the big reveal at the end with him and Vader. Is definitely one of the greatest twists in movies, and they really do such a great job with that. I like that we do get to see him be vulnerable and has his moments, and he's still a badass throughout the entire film. But of course, the last movie will explain everything about him, who he truly is, and why he is such an important character throughout the entire franchise. And the final character, I'm not gonna talk much about him because we don't get a lot with him in this movie, but that is Lando. Lando, throughout this movie, we get to see they go to Cloud City to go get his help. He is an old friend of Han, but of course Lando betrays them, and of course the whole final act happened. But then I like that Lando is a smuggler just like Han, so you never know what side he's on. And then eventually he does help out the gang to escape, and he's just such a cool character. But I like that we do get more of him in the next movie. So that's all I'm really gonna say about him. Not really too much. He's just He's a very funny character, and I like that he's also a sweet talker, just like Han. And you can definitely tell that these two are longtime friends and frenemies, and I really like that about these two. And that is pretty much it of this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I liked a lot of things about this movie, from the story, the music, the dialogue. Everything was so great in this movie. You could definitely tell George Lucas and his team did an amazing job with this movie. This is still my favorite Star Wars movie in the entire franchise. I could watch this movie again and again, and I love it every time I watch it. So I hope you guys enjoy. Comment, rate, subscribe as always. Like the video, share the video with everybody, and don't forget I have multiple playlists, so you can always find something to watch here on the channel. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace.